I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at what blessings are coming for you in May. May, the best month, my month, my favorite month. I'm totally kidding, but I'm also kind of not. Now, so this kind of depends on where you're at in the world. I'd actually really love to know from your perspective what May is like for you, but May's got, flowers blooming. It's got a little bit of that cool air from March and April, but it's also starting to get warm. It's got that like lovely new energy, new beginnings kind of vibe. And then, summer, you get to enjoy those new beginnings. So I'm just all about May. But nonetheless, you could probably hear that I'm tired in my voice. I had some late night impromptu fun. Who doesn't love that? So excuse me if I sound a little bit haggard. The reading won't be. Anyways, as you can see in front of us, we have 4 groups of cards. We have Spirit Quartz, Pink Opal, Pyrite, and Seafoam Calcite. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've done that, you can go down to the description where you can skip to your designated group and mark timestamp, but let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what blessings are coming for you in May by looking at the cards. Your oracle card is Bone Collector Upright. This is going to represent your spirit animal that will guide you for the month. Okay, this is just too perfect. I'd say coincidental, but we're doing tarot here, and that's not possible. Your tarot cards are Ace of Pentacles in reverse, the Hangman in reverse, the Star card upright, 7 of Swords upright, and your final card is, the Star card in reverse. I love it. Okay, so as if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll know that this is a huge reason why I like to work with multiple decks. This gives an opportunity for cards to repeat. And when cards repeat, this is basically your spirit guides saying, pay attention to this. This is important. This is what you need to know. Especially, now this isn't the case always, but in this particular case, when one card's upright and one card's reverse, it's basically your spread saying, we want to change this into this, and this is how we can do it. Let me just look at the cards for one more second to make sure I got everything. It's interesting. Spirit keeps telling me about presence, like as in a physical present. But it's not the kind of present you were looking for, and it's not the kind of present you are going to anticipate, expect, or even realize you're getting a present. It's like when someone kind of comes home and maybe they're like, oh, I got you this, and you don't think anything of it. You're like, oh, that was nice of you to grab me a little snack or something. But that present seems like it has greater significance and has some form, it's like some sort of aid or something like that. Like it's going to help this month. So I'm just going to share that. But let's start with reading your oracle card and definitely your theme of the month. Now, I just want you to keep an open mind because I would consider what we're about to talk about a huge blessing. Enormous. Most people work their whole entire lives in order to receive this blessing. So I could not be happier for you. But, people are in different paths in their life and might view this as more of like a pain than a positive thing, but it's a good thing. So let me explain why. This is a huge month where you're going to basically be solving a core issue. And when we, heal and we overcome something, it's not the most comfortable most of the given time. But I want you to understand that because this is being overcome and solved, this is the type of thing that enables you to manifest. This is the type of thing that finally stops you from being treated a certain way by certain people or running into particular situations over and over and over again, because people don't understand when you're trying to accomplish whatever you want in life, find the best version of yourself, become the highest version, bring into reality the life that you would like to live. You have to do a lot of inner working. So this is your month where you're going to become overcoming that, and I'm really excited for you. So When we have Bone Collector popping up, this is asking you over this month to repeatedly say to yourself, am I seeing the situation completely, clearly, and understanding every side? Like, am I seeing it for what it is? Because this card pops up when you're battling with like past conditioning. So that's how you're responding. Or, you're responding because of like an unconscious behavior. So you're not aware you're being defensive. You're not aware that you're still acting out of fear or whatever, issue you deal with. But keep in mind, this card comes from like a really loving place and a self awareness. Because over this month, I want you to be aware that in our past, we've experienced some sort of trauma. And when we experience that pain, it forces us to kind of go into survivor mode and protect ourselves. So we only see the situation in one way in that moment because we just want to defend ourselves and overcome it. Not understand, well, why are they projecting on me? Why do I need to take this on? I can stand up for myself, or whatever the situation is, because there's different levels of severity, obviously, and some things are much more harder to process than others. But the point I'm trying to say here is when we experience situations that repeat, and keep in mind, I do want to give you the positive blessing that you're not going to have situations constantly repeating this month that involve the past. It's just saying that when these things repeat, they're giving us opportunities to look at the situation again and say, can I rewrite history? Can I be aware of how I used to respond? Why am I doing that? And how can I change that? And again, in order to see the situation clearly. Not only because it helps you have a better judge of character, but if you always view everybody as an enemy, that's a really scary world to live in. You know what I mean? If you just don't have trust for your fellow, humankind, and you don't have trust for yourself. So by solving this, it's like saying, yeah, I'd love to have trust within myself. I would love to trust other people. And then therefore you're saying to the universe, yes, I trust that you're going to bring me into the best possible life. So this is making you aware of how your past has affected how you're seeing things now. And it's kind of like what you're going to keep bringing up and asking yourself in order to change the way you're viewing things this month. Now, this is why I said it was so beautiful going on over here. So your spirit animal this month is a unicorn. Isn't that cool and that magical? But the thing about unicorns is unicorns talk about inner power. And it's actually the most beautiful spirit guide you could possibly have while you're going through this healing, because this is the type of guide that is meant to move you forward in a direction, that's like their whole purpose, in a very peaceful, loving way. So you're both being guided. It's like the confirmation and promise that over May you're gonna get out of this healing. You'll overcome these past problems that have like defined the way you've thought of things. But it's gonna be a lot more gentle than you think it is, which is great because when we heal, sometimes it's not at the most convenient time and it makes it really painful and difficult. So you're kind of getting a leg up, so to speak. So again, it's all about perspective. I consider this all a really positive thing. Now, the Ace of Pentacles is really interesting. This can be read two different ways. I'm going to share both perspectives because I'm kind of torn if it's the other one. So one I'm definitely picking up on for sure is it talks about working on your inner core belief system, which we already know. We talked about that. It's like a confirmation card, so to speak. And that's like something that, how do I say this? Sometimes we need the vocabulary in order to be like, well, what do I do? So your belief system internally, again, how do you trust? How do you approach situations? What are your morals? What do you want? It's kind of like, how can you rework that to benefit you the best? You're totally doing a dismantling and figuring it out and starting something new this month. And so you might want to look down and write down every single thing that you totally believe in. Maybe you're like, people never change. That's just the way it is. Whatever it is, write all of these things down. And I want you to look at it and think, what on this list would I like to change? Maybe even better, look on that list and say, why do I feel the way I do? And is this really benefiting me? Or am I attracting more of this in my life? And then how can I change that? You know what I mean? But it also can talk about, and it can talk about it's not being the right time to start anything new, like regiment wise. So we're not talking about belief system. We're talking about like maybe you wanted to start a new type of routine or a way of approaching a project, or maybe even a new job or something like that, whatever it be. Now is not the time. You're not in the best place for it. And to be honest with you, it's not about you. Like, and keep in mind, the Ace of Pentacles is a very gentle card, saying that if you went for it, it's not going to be this huge consequence or anything like that. So, you know what I mean? If the opportunity presents itself and you want to go for it, go. It's just saying that you're not in the best state of mind to bring it to success or its fullest possible outcome, which we already know. We were talking about how you're working on that this month. So I'm just going to like put that out there, that there might possibly, I'm just not feeling it strongly. I'm still going to share it though, because I'm being told to share it. So the point is, there is potentially for some of you a possibility coming up, an opportunity. And keep in mind that this is not the last opportunity you're going to get. It just kind of, it's almost like a test of being like, do you want to keep, reaching forward and moving forward when you're not actually in the best, place to keep that momentum going and truly move forward, and in turn are actually stagnating yourself? Or do you want to say, I trust that I will get more opportunities moving forward, and I'm going to work on myself right now? You know what I mean? Just some food for thought there. Now, the interesting thing is with the whole opportunity thing is we have the Hanged Man in reverse. So again, talks about the unconscious mind and working on that for sure, but it also talks about how you're kind of being forced to move forward, and things are going to be coming up opportunity-wise, we talked about. Now, not opportunity-wise as like specifically a career. This is like a separate opportunity. We're talking about unexpected events, especially when we have the Star card, which specifically talks about this. This is like being forced to interact with other people and like socialize, and make friends maybe when you weren't in the best place to, that type of thing. Or maybe like a relationship pops up. I'm not getting specifics, but whatever it is, you're being put into a position where you're maybe not ready for it. You know what I mean? Now, the keep in mind, though, with the Hangman reverse, again, we have being brought back that idea with the Bone Collector. It's like your unconscious mind being forced forward. Not always a bad thing. Again, I just want to keep reiterating, people spend a lifetime trying to dig that deep, and you're kind of being thrusted by the universe to get the type of healing that you deserve. The Star card talks about how the moving forward, the reason why you're being thrusted forward into this situation, these unexpected kind of events popping up, is because of the Star card. So the Star card pops up, you have these unexpected events, and then you're like, I kind of have no choice, I have to do this. So while you're healing, just understand, like, you gotta go with the flow. These are your opportunities to work on the healing, because personally, I find you can say over and over and over again positive affirmations, but it's not until we're truly tested and in that moment that that sort of affirmation or exercise actually gets successfully implanted within us. It's kind of like when someone cuts you off in a car and you're trying to learn to be a more peaceful person. You have to, in that moment, say, am I going to scream at them and be really mad at them and feel so mad that I was really scared? Or am I going to take a breath and say, you know what, maybe they had to go to the bathroom and they were in a rush, or, I feel for them that they're suffering so much they feel they had to put both of our lives in danger. I'm wishing them the best. I'm going to just worry about me now. You know what I'm saying? But I want to pay attention to this over here. When we have the Seven of Swords popping up, this is pretty interesting. This is talking about the idea of picking what you want to, I guess you could say, like, believe in, like what attributes are going to help you become your highest self. But the manner in which you choose it is important, because the Star card is when, in reverse, is when we don't believe in ourselves and we're feeling all over the place. Like we said, we're feeling tripped up. We don't trust ourselves and what we have to offer, and so on and so forth. But it also, I will mention this card specifically in the spread, does talk about, it seems like you're going to be surrounded by a group of people. This is why I talked about the unexpected events just being like a group of friends you didn't anticipate or whatever, or being surrounded by a group of people you didn't anticipate to be surrounded by. And it seems like they're really focused on trying to get you to believe, what they think is the right way to handle a situation, the way to live your life kind of situation. Now, the good news is I don't see any cards that imply manipulation, controlling, or even success in that department. So this is going to be a very lighthearted month. It's just kind of in your area, in your vision, in your parameters. You have to kind of deal with it a little bit. But you're basically being told by your spirit guides that sometimes, even if people mean well, they can unfortunately give us advice that kind of makes us focus more on being a part of the collective and doing what everyone else is about. And the star card talks about nonconformity and how important that is. And this is our confirmation card that you actually need to take some time isolated and away from them and figure out, what do you believe? Because being a nonconformist is your path. You are not meant to fit in with these people or most people. You're meant to understand, well, how would you approach the situation? How would you fix it? And keep in mind, I just want to say this, if you're taking a moment to heal yourself from an experience or a conversation because it brought up something from the past and you're really aware of it now and you're like contemplating it because you're working on it. If you don't know the answer right away, one, feel free to always ask your spirit guides. They're always there. But two, take a breath and give yourself a moment. Like meditate. People don't always have to have the answer from themselves within a 1 minute second. You know what I mean? A 1 minute second, that's not a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, take a moment. So this month you're going to be guided and helped, and it's going to be much more gentler than you anticipate. You're going to be understanding what it is that you truly believe and want, and understand that the advice of others is not going to be the thing that helps you. You're reworking how you view things and how you got there in order to have a better tomorrow. You are going to kind of, unfortunately, when you're not ready, be thrusted into some events. But again, this is like your unconscious mind being forced to face itself. So it's a good thing. Take everything as like a blessing and being like, oh, another test, another way to become, understand myself better. I'm asking to understand myself better. I'm being given an opportunity. You know what I mean? And just understand that being thrusted in this way is because of the unexpected events around you. To understand how you can be not so much of a to be a nonconformist, you get what I'm saying. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, also, I will mention that there will be success this month in overcoming these issues. I do want to mention that too. So anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I will see you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's find out what blessings are coming to you in May by looking at the cards. Your oracle. Well, I'm sorry. Oracle cards, solitude in reverse. Okay, we can still work with this, but that is so funny. Your spirit animal that is being represented this month is a ram. Ooh. Your tarot cards are 7 of Wands upright, 6 of Cups upright, double death. Okay. All right. This is going to be a month for you. And 3 of Pentacles in reverse. I freaking love this. This is amazing. This is a very good thing. Wow, so interesting. All right, get excited. You are going to be taking charge of your life pretty intensely this month. This is definitely a huge month for change, but it seems like there's a lot of defensiveness in a good way. Not like anyone's attacking you, just like understanding what you want and then defending it kind of vibe. And then there seems to be some sort of like dismantling and like deep understanding of yourself and a lot of things. So I'm kind of all over the place, which is really interesting. So this part's really interesting because, if you see me read cards, and this is not me creating a narrative. If you read tarot, you'll find the narrative is just naturally there, but often the cards seem to kind of intersect super fluidly. Now, this still intersects fluidly, but it's just a total different juxtaposition to what's going down here, which I think is really funny. This is kind of like the branching point, the beginning, what you need to do for your sanity and well-being, but also kind of like what starts everything off, and you're meant to do that. So solitude in reverse, pretty straightforward. You are basically being told, like, hey, you're spending too much time alone. It's kind of getting to you, and it's not making you feel too good, and you really should stop, because when we're that isolated, it kind of causes us to either overthink things or get kind of a warped perspective because we're not balanced enough between interacting with other people and stuff like that, which is so ironic given the current situation. But I do want to give the suggestion that if you're like, how the heck am I supposed to be social then? You can totally be social through like I think Zoom's like a thing right now, where you can virtually talk on the phone or like Skype. There's tons of little free games and stuff online that you can play where you can just randomly talk to other people. I think, isn't there something called like Words with Friends or something where you basically play Scrabble and you can chat to people simultaneously. So you don't even have to have any friends to do this. But this is a friend related month. I do want to point this out. So you're going to go out there and actively be social in May. And I say that as in not that it's just going to happen, but that you're going to make it happen. That's a really important note to pay attention to. You're not waiting for things to fall into your lap, especially when your spirit animal is the ram. So one thing I think that's really fun about the ram compared to like, because, well, the ram, is anyone a zoologist? Like, is like a ram a type of sheep, right? It's like a male sheep, or it's like a different type of, or it's like in the sheep community, the family, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, compared to its counterpart, which is all about like gentleness and fluffiness, this is a very headstrong sort of spirit animal. It's all about being very like proactive, aggressively, and definitely not being afraid to take the charge and be the leader. So do not expect people to reach out to you. You're going to be the one reaching out to them, and you're going to want to make this happen. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So yes, you're going to get out there, you're going to have some fun. It's definitely going to be a fun month, and you're going to make this all happen yourself, and you're going to be the person that gets everybody together, kind of thing. But here's where it gets really interesting. So I can see over here with the Six of Cups, we have somebody from your past popping up, which is really interesting. Now, I can tell with the Six of Cups going on, this is not someone from your past that you have particularly like a bad kind of vibe from them. I don't get a bad vibe from them, is what I'm saying. But they seem to be popping up. And in all your social happiness and not having that much of a bad rapport with them, you're gonna hang out with them. You're gonna have a good time. Now, you're not going to keep hanging out with them after May, I will tell you that much. But the thing that's really interesting here is they kind of represent your past. Not this isn't always the case when someone's from your past, but in this case it is. And they kind of make you look at two different things simultaneously. They both represent the same thing, but here's what I mean. With the Seven of Wands, this talks about when you're understanding what you're truly passionate about and then defending it. So this is a month where you kind of reevaluate, like, what makes you happy? What do you want to do in the long term? What gives you life when you're outside of your job? Like, how are you living life, or are you just kind of running through the day by day, accomplishing tasks? Like, it's a really fun, interesting self exploration month in that kind of way. But the defending part is really interesting because while it seems like a really aggressive card any other time, especially with the positive omen of the Six of Cups, this is not someone who's going to make you feel uncomfortable or hurt you in any way. It's more just like maybe you decide, I don't know, you really like wicker furniture, like outdoor furniture. And they're like, I don't even like to sit outside. And you start to be like, no, I realized I really like it. There's so many benefits to sitting outside. No, you're wrong. And it doesn't end in a huge fight. They're just like, oh, okay, well, I don't agree with that. And then that's it. But by kind of confronting that and standing up for it, you start to understand, what do I feel is worth standing up for? So it's kind of like you're getting you're understanding what you want this month, and in the long term what's going to make you happy. But by defending it, it's like your confirmation to yourself. Sometimes things are staring us right in the face and we just don't realize it. The defending it is forcing you to realize what's staring you in the face, so to speak. But the thing that's also interesting with the Six of Cups being kind of like your helpful guide to helping activate this defense and then making you be aware of what you're into, kind of thing, is it also represents this idea of like who you were when you were younger and what truly made you happy. I mean, like, get deep with it. Like, did you want to be an inventor? Some people have really cute, quirky little dreams where they wanted to, I'm trying to think of a silly thing. They wanted to only pick strawberries their whole life or something like that. What was it that made you so happy back then? And is this somewhere where you can get your passion from? Is this something you need to leave behind? It just seems like the thing that's really interesting, especially with the two death cards being here, is I'm not getting a clear answer if that's where your answer is or if that's something you need to leave behind. I think this is because it's a general reading, so for many of you it could be one and for many of you it could be the other. But either way, it seems like this person being in your from the past and making you think about your childhood again is definitely just or your just general past is making you reevaluate a lot of things and giving you either clues to what you want or don't want, so to speak. Now the death cards. I just love this for you. This is going to be a huge metamorphosis month for you this month. The reason why it pops up twice is it lets me know that you have not known what makes you truly happy for a very long time. Do you constantly just scroll social media? Does everything kind of okay? You know, do you ever get your heart racing and it's almost that feeling of like falling in love for the first time, but when you go to perform some sort of activity? And keep in mind, hobbies can be included. You don't have to find out what you want to do for a living and that be the thing. In fact, many of you might have mistaken that the thing that you do for a living is your passion, and it can be, but there's something else calling your name. This is not your ending point. There is something that makes you even happier, and it does not have to make you money, but it is going to give you a sense of vitality and a feeling of life. People just think they live life. No, no, no. You're asleep living life. You're just going about your day. This is going to make you live life, which is really beautiful. So this understanding of what you want and what you leave behind is really big this month. And by just simply understanding how to have fun and feel excited again about waking up every day kind of thing is, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. Sorry, I'm starting to pick up somebody. I'm curious, can you guys let me know in the comments, are any of you suffering from like, oh God, I'm sorry, hold on. Oh, I'm really gotta ground myself. Hold on, give me a second. I'm channeling someone really hard. Okay, is any of you been blocked in your heart chakra for a while and you're starting to kind of in this card reading, it's like opening up, it's having like a moment. It feels like this is a huge opening in that month. I don't see enough clues to say that your heart chakra is the thing that's going to be opening that month, but it just feels like in this moment I'm just sharing that. Anyways, so you're going to be discovering a new version of you, which I'm really excited. Now, this is really interesting. I just want to give this as an extra bit of clue before I go over the last point, and this is important, is with this death card, this one talks about the idea that sometimes things have to die or end in order for us to grow and feel lighter and feel like we can move forward. So that's definitely something that sounds really dramatic, but we talked about leaving this friend behind is not necessarily like, it's not the ending of a friendship. And again, this doesn't feel like the deepest friendship ever. You're not going to be really heartbroken about this friend leaving your life. It's more like you have to, sometimes it's emotional, even if it's a good thing. If we leave like a bad job, it's like, oh, I knew some of those people, I was cool with some of them. It's like that feeling of like, oh, I'm leaving that part of me behind. It's a little emotional. But that's okay. It's like that's your clue of how you grow. And also, it's a beautiful process to go through. Isn't that great that you had some part of you can love and let go? Like you can love that apathetic part of yourself and be like, thank you for helping me thus far. You served your purpose and getting me to this point. You know what I mean? And then over here talks about the dismantling of yourself in order to truly grow. So this talks about leaving something behind, but this is totally like, how are you put together as a person? This again talks about the idea of, in the second confirmation, we talk about life. You know, a lot of us think, oh, we have a skeleton, we're good, we're moving forward. We're using the skeleton as like a metaphor for like, again, the daily activities. But the passion we have for doing something that gets us really excited is like the blood, is the veins. It's the whole thing keeping the thing together and moving forward. And this is, again, the dismantling of like, what do you believe in? What do you feel? So hopefully I'm not being too redundant. I'm just trying to explain every possible clue I can in order to, so you can kind of like, they're like the tools to help you be like, well, how do I go about this? You know what I mean? And then last is the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So the Three of Pentacles in reverse gives us the confirmation that there's going to be some sort of ending. Now, this could be with other coworkers, this could be friends, but I want you to keep in mind that these people that you're going to be leaving behind, because this is a totally different person than this group of people, I want you to keep in mind this. If, let's say this is a friend group, right? And you're like, I don't want to leave this friend group behind. That's so sad. The thing is, they are not being represented by cups. Three of Cups would be like a friendship group. When we have a pentacle situation, this implies that they have been in your life to serve as a way to, like, it's like their friendship was a job, and their job purpose and occupation was to serve you for a time and help you understand things, work on things, you know what I mean? Like the act of having fun can sometimes feel like a job, you know what I mean? It's almost like it wasn't this deep, powerful soulmate sort of connection, if that makes sense. And they are no longer going to be serving their purpose. Again, we talk about defensive nature. That definitely could they're too kind of far apart for me to say like those are definitely going to happen for all of you, but you could be defending yourself to them and being like, wow, I want to do this thing that makes me happy, and they're not agreeing with it. Oh, well, thank you for revealing yourself to me. I will now leave you behind. For some of you, it's realizing you're not happy at your job anymore. And again, your passion might be something that you want to take into a career format. And you're like, okay, I'm leaving my job. I don't want to do this anymore. And I want to keep this in mind. This is you leaving the job. So if you don't want this to happen because you're afraid or something right now, you don't have to. Like, this is a choice-based thing. This is just saying that the most likely outcome is you're going to on your own go, I'm done with this. I want to do what makes me happy. All of this has given me a better perspective on life and myself. So yeah, go out there, be social, understand what you want. You're going to have some nice interactions, some interactions that will just make you understand yourself. It's going to feel a lot more peaceful, as much as this aggressive imagery implies. It's going to be a lot more confidence driven, a lot more like certainty. It's going to be less drama, because you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm cool. You know what I mean? So if you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving the video a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's find out what blessings are coming to you in May by looking at the cards. We have your oracle card is Come Together in reverse. Ooh, interesting. Your spirit animal to guide you this month is a monkey. I actually really love this together. This is my, we'll get into this, but this is like some of my favorite advice my spirit guides give me, and just in general I hear. It's been one of my favorites. So your tarot cards are the Fool in reverse, the Hierophant upright, Ace of Swords. Ooh, I got the chills. 5 of Swords upright, and your last card is Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so I'm definitely connecting to somebody who, let's put it this way, I'm going to keep it general because this is a general reading. The biggest thing I'm picking up is a relationship, somebody who's in a relationship. But remember, relationships can take many forms. So this can be with a family member. It could be with, a close friend. This is just somebody you have quite an intimate relationship with, like you're very close to them. So let's talk about some really great changes that are coming this month, because it looks like some things need to change. So when we have Come Together in reverse, the oracle card, this talks about how May, it kind of feels like it's coming up like right now, or I feel like it's happening right now, and into May, this is going to change essentially, which is when you are imbalanced in the love department with this other person. So this is when either they're withholding love from you, or you're withholding love from them. It's like you guys aren't just freely expressing how you feel. You're not just, no holds bars, like, of course I care about you. Of course I'd want to help you just because I care about you. And there seems to be bartering and rules and games and hot and cold, that type of things. Things feel off. Now, I will just already rest assured, your worries or anything like that, especially for people who are in a relationship. I actually do not see an end to this relationship at all. In fact, I see a solution to this relationship, which I'm really excited about. And for many people who are with close friends or a family member, of course, they're not going away, but things are going to get a lot better, which is good because many of us right now are currently with those people and will be with those people for another month or two. So, the guidance you're first getting, like your attitude you kind of want going forward in order to heal this imbalance, because like that's the name of the game for you this month, is that you want to take with the monkey spirit guide a light-hearted approach. The monkey spirit guide is really silly and fun and sees that things can be solved with games. And that's why I was saying how much I love it. I can't tell you how many times I've been like stressed out or overwhelmed and spirit's like, go have fun. Don't think about anything. It's all going to be okay. Like, go have fun. So that's definitely happening with you guys. I can tell things are particularly bad with, look at the little monkey. He's like covering his eyes and he's like, ooh, I don't know how to process what's going on over here. I'm just having a good time. Do you want to come hang out with me? Because that's all I know and want to be a part of. So it seems like it's been rough and getting rougher. So especially when we have the Five of Swords over here. So now we have a couple things going on with the Fool card I want to mention, but let's see the Hierophant as the representation of how things are seen traditionally, because it's not working anymore. Maybe, again, if this is a family member, maybe your parent is viewing, they do this and you do this and this is how it is. And well, that's just not working out anymore. You're growing, you're becoming your own person, and this is kind of a call of action of like you both need to be two people on the same page, two individuals that respect one another and work as more of a team rather than a hierarchy, if that makes sense. Same thing with a relationship. You've been maybe it's believed of like, okay, well, we're together, that's enough, who cares? Who cares about dating anymore, or depending on where you're at in your relationship, who cares about this? This is the way it is. We're fulfilling the typical roles. Well, that's just not working anymore. Things need to be changed. And, maybe you need to feel like you can go out on your own without them and have your own friends or whatever the difference is. But what's happening now and has been happening for a while isn't working anymore. Now, the Fool card's really interesting because it says two different things I want you to keep in mind. Now, on one hand, the Fool card is the card in the beginning of the major arcana and represents this idea of like free-spirited nature. But remember, that free-spirited nature comes with a lot of benefits. Because they believe that everything's going to be okay, everything is okay. Because they believe in magic, there is magic. So on and so forth. And that's the kind of energy the Major Arcana is advising to bring with you throughout all of your journeys, even when you're facing hard stuff. So again, it goes back to the whole monkey spirit guide and saying like, that's the energy you need to embody right now in order to fix this imbalancement. And remember, the cool thing is while you're fixing this problem and then having like a better situation either with your significant other or it's more pleasant at home, you're going to be having fun the whole time. So who doesn't love that? But it implies that this is something you've lost along the way. When the Fool card's in reverse, this is somebody who is been by themselves for so long that they kind of feel they can only depend on themselves. And therefore, when you can only depend on yourselves and that feels like the most prevalent thing at the surface, it starts to make you feel like you need to control the situation with, this does not imply you're controlling, I'm just trying to give a vibe and a metaphor here, that it starts to make you think, well, if I can only depend on myself, I need to start worrying about things and controlling what's going to happen next in order to best defend myself and protect myself. And you've kind of lost that general hope and belief and that kind of like forceful sense of like, yeah, it's all gonna be all right. Of course, because I say so, it will be, kind of confident attitude. Again, we talk about the moving away from the from the hierophants, so the tradition's not working out well for you anymore. But it does come as a slight warning. I do want to mention this. There feels like there is the potential. It doesn't mean you have to do it. I do want to point out that the opportunity might present itself, and you should be weary of this because sometimes we're over it. We're done with this other person. We're tired of it. We kind of need a break from all of it. So forces us to act free-spirited, the opposite of what we're feeling, but in a really risky way, like a way you know better. And if you're worried, well, what's the risk? You'll know when you shouldn't be doing something. You'll know when it's not the thing that's worth taking and that it most likely is not going to have the the benefits of an outcome the way you want them to. You're aware. There's not a lack of awareness when this opportunity pops up. But this is like an act of like you trying to make yourself feel better and taking a break. But the universe is being like, we're facing this relationship. We're dealing with this relationship. It's significant enough. It needs to be fixed and balanced. And keep in mind, you're getting an opportunity from the universe to learn an important lesson that will benefit you in the long run. And if you see this as like running away from that opportunity, running away from fixing the situation by finding that sense of forced freedom. Keep in mind, forced fun. That's the vibe you're going to pick up when you try to, if you try to take this opportunity. You're basically gambling and could kind of potentially run into a position that will turn out for the worse. So, you know how often when I read cards, I'm like, no, don't worry, it won't work out your way, not a big deal. This is something you should keep in mind that it kind of has more significant repercussions. Again, you'll be able to see it a mile away, but see it as you could handle the situation and bring that free spirit here and handle the situation and be a grown-up and fix things and feel better and learn life lessons and have fun the whole time. Or you could be silly and put yourself in a dangerous situation you don't need to. Same vibe, but can be handled different ways. Just something to keep in mind. But now, let's go into this positive thing going on over here. So the Five of Swords shows me it's been rough. Really rough. This is when there is a lot of verbal slander and like fighting in general. And this is when like people get really personal with their fighting. This also comes with a type of attitude of like, I've got to get the last word. I've got to win. It feels more competitive. Like the need to compete feels more important than what's actually being discussed. Even more than like hurting each other. Now, hurting is a byproduct, feeling brought down by this other person or being brought down. Excuse me, I was just enjoying a lovely tarot reading and then I got a spam call that interrupted the recording. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. Stupid spam call. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So, the Five of Swords upright is somebody who's like competing and it feels it's more important to win than cares about anybody getting hurt, any being brought down. Any feelings of feeling being brought down is the byproduct of all of this like really terrible energy being brought forward. But then we have the Ace of Swords. This is fantastic. This is the thumbs up, go ahead, that now is the time to have a kind of like a no holds bars truth time like conversation where you're just putting it out all on the table, you're chatting it up with each other, you're saying what you want and how you feel, and you have to keep in mind they're allowed to express that too, because that's why the term imbalance is being used. It's not about just you getting what you want. They have something they're missing too. And it's about coming together and understanding how can both of you compromise or better understand each other. Sometimes when we have an Ace of Swords situation, sometimes it's just simply saying, I feel this way, and that's enough to solve the situation. You know what I mean? This is the go-ahead that now is the time that you're thinking the clearest, that you're ready for it. It's time for a change, and it's welcomed. And look at the Five of Swords we got out of any other potential Five of Swords we could have gotten. This represents somebody who's like finally, throwing up their hands and saying, okay, I think that the truth and having an honest conversation feels more important than this fighting. It's like the one thing that feels more important than the act of winning. You know what I'm saying? And then last but not least, this is an important card to talk about. How did it get this bad? And something to keep in mind going forward as you're making decisions and you're figuring stuff out. When we have a Queen of Pentacles in reverse type of situation, this is somebody who is making the excuse by giving their all and serving everybody else in order to ignore serving and helping themselves. So you might have made the excuse of saying, oh, they've just taken so much from me. I've just done so much for them. but have you done so much for them in order to not face your own personal, maybe your own personal unfulfillment, sadness? Because remember, relationships are wonderful and they can give us so much, but we can get a lot of that by ourselves, for ourselves. So this is making you somewhat be aware of how you've both neglected yourself over this month as you express to this other person how you want to be treated, what you want, all that jazz. You're also going to be exploring, okay, I'm going to kind of put their needs and that kind of involvement, and definitely in the truth conversation, I would definitely suggest saying, hey, I've been aware I've been neglecting myself. I don't want to do that anymore. These are my plans going forward. That's a great attitude to have. And you're going to really kind of have some self-discovery this month of being like, well, what have you been neglecting? What needs help? I definitely think fun is the number one thing being neglected here. Sometimes when we lose our sense of silliness, we can become very curmudgeon-y, and nothing is worse, and definitely a huge reason why people feel resentment towards one another. You know how people say they don't want to feel like a nag? You know what I mean? It's like somebody put you in a position where you had to keep reminding them, or someone put you in a position where you no longer were being yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing going on this month, is like realizing you don't need to hold them to that anymore. There is a certain level of accountability where you can just say, it doesn't matter what they've done. I don't need the last word anymore. What can I do for me now? I was somewhat a part of this, and how can I do it? And like fix it, I mean. But then also, simultaneously, they were somewhat a part of it. That's why you started to help out, give them lots of attention, and then saying, that's not going to change anymore. This isn't working for me anymore. And then coming together in a new way. And just want to keep pointing this out, in a really fun light. So I'm very excited for you. I hope you are too. This is going to be a great month for you to feel close and passionate and romantic, or depending on the relationship, and feel close and have a good time in a way you weren't previously. And I'm excited for these problems to be resolved, these lessons to be learned, and just some kind of general self-empowerment going on here. So, and self-awareness, which I love. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what blessings are coming your way in May by looking at the cards. Your oracle card is Stormfield's Upright. Your spirit animals that's going to be helping you this month is an iguana. That is so specific to this. That's so interesting. The traditional meaning of this kind of takes a different turn. That's so interesting. Your tarot cards are 7 of Swords in reverse, 5 of Cups upright, 5 of Swords upright, 10 of Pentacles upright, and your final card is King of Wands upright. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. I can see that you've been going through a rough spot. I'm specifically picking up like family members for a while. I'm getting more of a like dad vibe, but this is a general reading, so it could be both parents, whatever. But the point is, it's been contentious for a while, and May is unfortunately no different. However, it looks like there's a shift and a change in this, which I'm really excited for you, and some things to contemplate, and an opportunity to carve out a space of your own, both as a person and like what you want to do in the long term, which I'm really excited about for you. So Stormfield's Oracle card is actually really great because it makes a negative thing a positive thing. It implies that not all fights are bad. Some of them lead to some good stuff. And if this implies this next fight, and I always want to put this out there, often tarot cards and oracle cards can seem really extreme. But if you've been fighting with your family for like kind of a while, I mean, this is just like another fight. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing to feel stressed out about. It's kind of the day to day at this point, so to speak. But this confrontation, think of it as like when a storm breaks finally, and you have that fight, the thunder, hits the earth or whatever, there is finally water. And that water gives nutrients to the soil, which helps the plants grow and makes a beautiful landscape and vegetables and fruit and stuff for people to eat and benefit from. So it's down the line, it's like this tension being released that needs to be released. This card also talks about during these confrontations, you're going to suddenly kind of bring up and be self-aware that why are both of you opposing each other? What's the issue here? What is being basically brought to light, like in between? It's like reading between the lines, so to speak. Like, why do they irritate you that bad and vice versa? You could even bring that up, to be honest with you, in the conflict of being like, why do you feel so upset that I do things the way I do them and you do things the way you do them and then I don't do them that way? Why does that bother you? Because it's about you, it's not me. I'm my own person. You know what I mean? And the thing that's really interesting here is the King of Wands when we talk about what bothers you. We'll get back to the King of Wands. King of Wands is super, super pinnacle and interesting, so hold on to that one. So the iguana spirit guide is very funny and specific. Actually, some people believe that iguanas have a third eye, like legitimately, like are using it at all times, and it helps them like view the sky and stuff like that. That's why they bob their head a lot when they communicate and stuff like that. So iguanas traditionally talk about the idea of gratitude and appreciation and being aware when you're like overworking something, like when you're over self-improving, that kind of thing. But the biggest thing I'm picking up with the iguana, to be honest with you, is yes, gratitude's great to help you get you through the month. That is always such a helpful thing. Like instead of like focusing so much on the pain that this person has caused you, focusing on all the good things around you, it will make the month feel great. And gratefulness leads to a lot of manifestation and better life, because if you feel your life is bountiful, you will create more abundance. But the iguana is an expert at being able to express themselves physically. They can read physical cues easily and they can deliver them. So it looks like a lot of information that's going to be led is given to you, like both signs from the universe and also how this other person truly feels in their intention. It's going to be said a lot through their like body language. So definitely read up on that. Like, are they saying one thing but showing their body in another? Because their body is going to betray them and give you a lot more clues so you can understand, like, yes, this is going to benefit you in the long run and you're going to have some understanding, but I cannot necessarily promise for, again, this is a general reading, that it's going to end with both of you acting harmoniously. It's more like you might cathartically finally not feel upset by this person anymore and realize, oh, I'm not going to be led astray anymore. You say you promise this, but I can see your body language. You have no intention of fulfilling that promise. Oh, you're that type of person? I don't feel that hurt and upset anymore, because why would I feel like I need to give your words any weight? You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of vibe. But with the Seven of Swords going down to the tarot spread in reverse, this is actually, you know what? I'll get to the Seven Swords in a second. I'm going to come back to this. It's important. Five of Cups shows us the grief they've been putting you through. I can tell it's been intense. I can see the actual grief being caused in the Five of Swords. This is when there's an intense level of fighting. It can get really personal. And something to note here that's really interesting, that is, I'm just picking up so intensely, is their desire to win. Because when we talk about reading in between the lines and understanding, like, if they say this, they're implying this kind of thing, this is an example of this. Why do they feel that you're somehow competition? So they see you as a threat. They see you as worthy of a threat. There's a bit of respect in that. Why is that such a problem? Do you see what I'm saying? It's almost like they're projecting themselves on you, like they see themselves on you and maybe they don't like themselves. Doesn't mean they don't like you. It doesn't mean you can't like you and redefine your version and be your own person. You're not them. But there's just something, food for thought there, to better, because sometimes when we better understand the people that are making us uncomfortable, it's the thing that sets us free from the situation. You know what I mean? And this is definitely a month of like contemplation and understanding and like a certain sense of like epiphanies that's going to cathartically help you overcome this and then more benefit from the situation. I can see over here in the Ten of Pentacles, they're always kind of holding it above your head, this idea of money. It's like, we're going to pay for this. If you stick with me, I can give you that. And it's this idea that they can somehow give you the longevity and the promise of a bright tomorrow. If you listen to what they say, better listen to me or you're not going to get this, that kind of bartering system. I will tell you this right now. Yes, they can offer you that opportunity financially. I don't see you getting out of their from underneath their thumb if you keep taking it and you keep going with it. I just want to point that out. But then the King of Wands and the Seven of Swords in reverse are the most revealing. So the King of Wands represents two different things that are important to note here. On one hand, it represents this person that is hurting you. They kind of just... they make it seem like they're clueless and they don't know what they're doing, but they completely know what they're doing. If they're acting stupid or like they're surprised or they had no idea or what do you mean? I don't know what you think I'm doing. They know what they're doing. There's an awareness. They really like everything to play out the way they want it to play out. Sorry about that. My neighbors were talking. I paused it for a moment so you didn't have to hear that in the background. Anyways, so this is somebody who is aware of what they are doing and they're incredibly smart and tactile behind the scenes, but they kind of make it look easy. They'll distract you with nice things, fun things. Look over here, but they're really, still controlling you and have a greater plan in the long run for you, so to speak. But the King of Wands is also something else. It's you too. I definitely see a reflection going on between this person that you're dealing with conflict-wise and you. But that doesn't mean that because you're like them and there's a sort of connection, you have to feel any sort of self-consciousness or disliking yourself or being like, I'm not anything like them. But you are in a really positive way and you can work it to your benefit. See, the King of Wands is somebody who understands that if they no longer conform to what everybody else wants them to do or worried about what they think other people want, they are able to then fully understand it is what they want and, just be like, this is what I want, go take charge. They're proactive. They are a leader in their own life. And then everyone else kind of follows suit because it's like, wow, look at them go. They just made that up on their own. Wow, I want to be where they're at, that kind of idea. So it's like both you and this other person have a very strong, fiery, potential proactive leadership vibe. You both want to be in control, so to speak. Now, I wouldn't describe you personally as manipulative and controlling, but you're tired of someone trying to tell you how to live your life. You want to live your own life, so to speak. And especially with the dangling of opportunities, it's like the money gives you an opportunity, and so it sounds nice and it feels good, and that makes you feel like you can live your own life, but at the same time, because of where it's coming from and how it's being filtered, you're obviously not in control. And so this is to make you be aware of like, stop caring even what they think. This is the month of you not to give a damn anymore. You know what I mean? This is going to be you focusing on. Sorry, I totally went out of my head for a second. Sorry, I'm back. This is you trying to understand what it is you truly want and not worrying about the rest. The Seven of Swords kind of comes as a form of like understanding of why you're dealing with so much conflict with them, within yourself, stuff like that. When we have, like, Seven of Swords represents how did our family affect and shape our belief system when we were young? We didn't have a choice then. We were too young to even know how to react, and we just took it in. But now is the time to understand that you are disconnected from, like, as we get older, you have to figure out, well, now I'm old enough to make my own decisions and think my own thoughts. What do I want to believe in? How do I want to approach things? How do I want to view the world? And you're not doing that right now because you're being so bogged down by this other oppressive person. And so this is the month that you take that back. You ask those questions. You stop saying, well, I think this because of them. Stop. pretend this other person doesn't exist, this other influence doesn't exist. Just look at any situation by itself. What's your gut reaction? What would you do? What do you want to do? What do you hope to be? And start to give that empowerment. Pull away from doing what they want to do and take charge of your own life. And I'll be honest with you, it kind of feels like the rest of these other people that are putting you down are gonna kind of follow and be definitely impressed by you and inspired. It does lead to the promise, I'm happy to say, you will make your own fortune and have your own very high, I have to say this very intensely, a lot of money in the long run and have your own sense of like security and stuff like that because of this mentality. So understand that this is kind of like a really rough way of learning a lesson. And with this final kind of like confrontation and fight, it's you having these epiphanies, feeling self-empowered, standing on your own, and realizing I might be like them in the sense of like empowerment and leadership, but I don't want to lead and be empowered the way they are. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited for you because while oh, and also just want to mention when with the third eye popping up, definitely trust your intuition. You're not trusting yourself, but your intuition is working just fine. Go use it. It will benefit you in the long run this month. Anyways, get excited for things to get better, for the storm to finally break, for you to understand a lot of things about yourself, to understand this other person, to have some cathartic like sense of healing and sense of closure. It's gonna get better. I know this isn't the type of blessing you maybe were anticipating. It's always fun to hear about presents and job opportunities, but sometimes we get blessings in ways that we didn't know we needed. You know what I mean? Like it's how do I express this? It's like if you say to the universe, I want to finally be free, they're giving you an opportunity to be free. So yeah, again, if you enjoyed this reading, please feel free to give it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps with the channel like you would not believe. Either way, have a lovely day. I will see you in the next one.